This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 91. You're 2 triangles and 6 words away from a better business. Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business, but without sacrificing your lifestyle? But you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action, if you want to get started in the right direction if you're new, or build a better real estate agent business if you're a veteran, I've created a free jumpstart course for you over at freeagentgift.com. What's over there is a couple of downloads and some videos that explain those downloads to help you think strategically so that you get planned out. You got to stop doing this business on muscle, or any small business for that matter, and you have to start to get planned. It's easy too. I don't like big complicated plans, so I'm giving you some real easy framework planning to do for yourself at any time of the year, but especially while I'm recording this, which is at the end of a year. All right. In this episode, you're 2 triangles and 6 words away from a better business. You know how I feel. I want to make it easy, and I use the terminology all the time. I got to chunk this thing up and make it simple. And this is a technique that has really helped me look at my own book of business and then subsequently train my one-on-one clients at the Realty Classroom and then the Griffin Realty Group agents, where we actually have a real active brokerage every day, my own book plus my agents and a lot of new ones. We love this methodology of introducing strategic vision, okay? Strategic vision. So the first point here is start with the perspective of the strategist. Now, I'm going to give you a visual. In the model or the download that you have, it says, when you go to Free Agent Gift, it says at the top, entrepreneur, then it says manager, then it says technician. That is gleaned from the body of work done by Michael Gerber in the E-Myth. Over time, I had to make this thing my own. I get it. Thank you, Michael, but it's time for me to move on with new language for myself. I like visionary better. It means much more to all of us. You know, at the end of the year, you're going to sit down and you're going to work on your vision. You're going to work on, well, a lot of people say vision and values. I feel like that gets a little bit non-pragmatic when people disappear into this real deep personal look at their values. I love that. Read Ben Franklin's autobiography if you want to start talking about somebody who employed the technique of looking at their own virtues and values all along his life, okay? But for me, for business, I need it to be simple. So what we did with ourselves and our own book and our agents is we started off with the perspective of a strategist at the end of the year. Now, again, I'm a veteran. If I were a rookie, I'd still teach this to myself back then, meaning what? You have to have a plan. So I remember coming out of business looking for a plan and trying to have that approach of a strategist. I really didn't have a vision because I could have just simply filled in that line at the top and said, I want to be a successful real estate agent and make a living doing it. Because at that moment in time, that's how I felt. I had 2 little kids at home. We had a failed business, personal business that we were in, and we were getting out of that. And I had to do something. And I liked this. I always liked real estate. So for me, the vision was, hey, let's just get paid. We got to put food on the table. But even in that heat of that moment, I wish I could have taken a step back a little bit more, because the gents at Realty Executives who took me on even before I had gotten my license and said, yep, just go get it. You're in. And I knew they were going to leave me alone. And I love them for that. And I came in and they asked me, what's your business plan? And I gave them the classic on muscle answer. Get me 2,000 business cards. Give me that desk over there in the corner. Put a lamp on it because I'm going to go to work. I'll bring the work ethic and the Army helmet. I joke with them, and we all had a good laugh, and off I went. And that was fine, but it was wrong. It was definitely wrong. I should have walked in there with a spiral notebook and a pen, and I should have just took a moment to think. See, the perspective of a strategist is really the thinker, I think. Again, vision can be worked on, and there's moments of time, but the strategist needs to say, okay, I think I have this idea of what the visionary wants. We want to make this sustainable. He wants to make a living doing this. So, all right, good. Keep him quiet. Let's now go sit down and say, what is the plan? How does this guy make a living? Well, we got to get up above the whole business to begin with. How does a successful real estate agent who makes a living doing this, how do they do what they do? Let's observe that. See, the strategist is much more about observing what actually is happening in reality. It's not making it up. It's not theoretical. You don't read it out of a theoretical book. You sit there and observe. You all have that power, that ability to use your imagination to rise up above and watch top producers doing what they do. And the internet's never made it easier than to watch them and see what they do through social media. You get a feeling for it, or you can look in MLS and you can see in some cases what their statistics are, what areas they cover. You can watch their marketing. You can get up above it and see their tactics and ask yourself, are they following a plan? Is there something that they do consistently? See, again, getting out of a tactical mindset just simply takes the use in the employment of your imagination, because you have to sort of drift up in the theater of the mind, as Maxwell Maltz calls it, up above the business and look down at the actual business in general in the MLS or the geography within which you want to do business. And that will begin to give you this perspective of how things are working or what they look like when they're successful. I mean, you're certainly not there yet at delving into planning, but at least you're observing. At least you're developing the neural pathways of a perspective that's different from the visionary and definitely different from the tactician. We've talked about this many times before. We all have a birthright as a tactician, which means what? Presuming you don't have a major mental or physical handicap, as a human being, you are gifted the birthright of being able to survive tactically. I run out of the cave, I find the food, I grab the food, I take it back, and I eat it. And then I go out and repeat it again. So all of us are going to default to tactics just like I did in that moment. I was fearful of not eating, not providing shelter for a family. So I was really good at tactics. And some of the best tacticians will go at it over and over and over, and they'll go even more so. Like David Goggins talks about that tactical brain, that animal brain will shut down about 40% of the human capacity because it's got enough. Right? But some people may push that to 50 as tacticians. But it's that imagination that really helps the best performers get up above all of that survival mentality and begin to become strategic. And that's where you begin to see real top producers or experts at anything, simply because they use their imagination to get up above all the tactical work and see it through a strategic lens. Okay? So start with that perspective. Even if you're brand new, sit there and take a beat. Go over to freeagentgift.com and get the thing. I mean, that's a what to do. This is what to do if you are an agent trying to bring it from a job to a business. Just like I say every time in the intro to this, I'm not making this up. This is what I actually do and how I help people get out of this mode. Please go get that stuff, and it will help you begin the what to do, so you can use those bullet points in that free course as thinking spots to start. Sequester yourself in a place where you're comfortable, cup of coffee, glass of wine, whatever your thing is. Go there quietly, and especially if you can do it towards the end of the day where you're really relaxed, because what happens is you provoke that imagination to go looking for the resources. You do not need to know how you are going to be successful like somebody that's already successful. You don't need to know that yet. You just need to observe it, imagine yourself acting as if you are already there, and you'll be shocked at how resourceful the subconscious becomes to serve the strategist. Okay, let me say that again. Use the creative imagination to get up out of a tactical perspective. Start with strategy first, okay? And then think about and write down things about strategy when you're relaxed and before you go to bed. It triggers the real strategist, which is the subconscious. But it's a very specific technique that works for professional ultra athletes. I mean, at the top of the game. Why wouldn't it work for small business people? But you have to employ the tactic. All right, point number 2. Chunk up the 2-step driving forces. Chunk up the 2-step driving forces. So imagine the visionary is up the top. I want to become a successful real estate agent who turns his job into a business, period. I'll plug it in for you. We go down to the strategy, and now we say, well, what modules? What plans? Because it's not just one plan. I chunked it up into modules, and that hopefully helps you break down into pieces. But I'm going to talk about the 1-2 punch here, right? There's 2 driving forces that are managed modules for the strategist, managed plans. And it's crazy, stupid, simple what I've learned and I'm sharing with you. I'm telling you, it's 2 triangles, 6 words to help you get started. Of course, you can dive into the details for the rest of your life, but to start with 2 triangles, think of a pyramid, how solid that looks, right? Triangles, really nice, simple. So the first one is the marketing strategy, the marketing plan, something to be managed, that triangle. The second one is the conversion triangle. I know, conversion triangle. What? Yeah, the follow-up, conversion of people in relationship. It is so unbelievably overlooked that it becomes the duh kind of moment in any small business that nobody's following up in any kind of a formulaic way to be successful. Right? It's crazy. I just got so excited. I'm stumbling over the word, right? It really is exciting to know that many people will follow up only for a very short period of time and then never again. And here's this person wondering, where's my help? So marketing in this context means we need a plan that's simple, that can help us find people who don't know us. Key point here. Who don't know us already in some form or fashion, and get them to lean in to our marketing message, okay? So that we have a chance to convert relationship with them all the way down to client. Think about that. And I'm not talking all you fans of referral and repeat, me too, but it's another module. So the 4 modules that I use in my model that I share with you that I think are universal. I think they're pretty immutable. It's like walking along an assembly line saying, what's universal? Marketing to people we don't know, converting those relationships into client, turning that into a closing where we have to babysit the details and make sure nothing blows up. And then you put them into a past client module where you treat them like family and they repeat and refer. It's not like one of these ideas can be pulled out or only focused on. I think that's the problem in this industry with coaching and training is everybody seems to go into a lane and think that that's a whole business model. It's not. It's just not. I mean, these are immutable laws. Argue with me. Go ahead. Tell me. Show me something different. But you have to do business with people you don't know. I'm not saying that a veteran who's been around for a long time can't work by referral only and that things just keep coming in, but I'm going to guess that they're pretty formulaic there. But those people still have to go through a new conversion process, especially if they're referred. You don't know them. So let's just stick to the model of immutable laws. Let's not argue about it, and let's just try it. So when you look at that first triangle, the next point is plan in order. Okay, so we have 2 driving forces. We've talked about this now, right? We have marketing for people we don't know and conversion. It's the 1-2 punch. Especially all you rookies out there, if you just spent an enormous amount of time really refining that skill set and got some help on closing, okay, and then did some basics for follow-up, like even 1 year property anniversary, hello, it's us, we're still here, that would be a good start, a really good start. I wish I had this information when I started, because I don't care how hard somebody works, without a strategy, a lot of that energy is dissipated, wasted, and worse, like I say in the intro. Are you sacrificing your life for small business? Your real estate business consuming you? You don't know your kids, you're not traveling, you don't have time for other people? That's not good. It's just not. It's just not healthy. It's not a balanced life. You're not getting the most out of life. This business is here to serve us beyond mere survival. It's to give us this quality of life. So we have to plan these things correctly. So here you go. Plan these in order. The first one for marketing is market on one side of the triangle, message, number 2, and media underneath for the support. Market, message, media. Full credit to Dan Kennedy. The first time I ever saw that triangle done up like that. Don't know where he learned it from, but I know he's been around marketing for a long time, but it's universal. And those steps are in order. Let me show you how. Number 1, we're looking for these people that we don't know to do business with us. And so imagine you're brand new to this business, especially veterans. Take yourself back to that moment in time and you walk into the office and you have all this enthusiasm. I'm going to do it. And here I was with my 2,000 business cards. And my plan was basically to listen to see if you said the words real estate together, okay, in any form or fashion, boom, I was on you. I mean, I would, I can sell. So I would get my way into the conversation. I would be helpful. I think I was doing it the right way. I was helpful, not humpful, as I like to say. But it was just weird, right? Just weird. And I look back, I'm like, ugh, I wouldn't even have the energy to do that. I mean, I was always out socially, pre-social media online. I was out socially doing that kind of stuff, telling people about real estate, attracting them in. But I wasn't thinking about my market well enough. I didn't define it. Now you'll hear the words avatar, which basically means an ideal client, which is an excellent exercise. But in our business, I think it's easier and probably necessary to start with geography. See, when I first started, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts originally, and then moved to Cape Cod where I started my family. It's by the beach. It's a beautiful lifestyle. I chose lifestyle plus business. And so when I went there, if you Google map Cape Cod, it's a really big region. It's big. And it takes a very long time because there's only one main highway that goes through the middle of it. In the middle, the instant you start to meander off of it, you can get lost for hours. So to go all the way from the tip of Provincetown to the tail of Falmouth just could take hours, literally 2.5 hours, depending on traffic, maybe more. It's actually quicker for me to leave the middle of the Cape and go to Boston, where I have an office up there as well. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. So think about this. So I made this market decision. I'm Cape Cod. And again, that's that visionary that sometimes gets out ahead of its skis, as I like to say, just all excited. Well, we're going to dominate and we're going to do this. And that's the naivete of the tactician, right? Tactician wants to conquer. Just want to go out there and fight, that bravado. And it's dangerous because now that you're planning your marketing in this chunked up way, and you just say, Cape Cod, check the box, go on, and then you go straight to the tactics. Well, I'm going to send postcards. I'm going to do it. Big mistake. So I went back to market and I planned in order a little bit. I said, okay, geographically speaking, let me get up above this business and be a strategist and look down upon it. Well, when I looked at the town of Barnstable, you can Google all this so you can see how real this is, right? You look down at the town of Barnstable and you look in there and you saw a lot of companies doing real estate, saw a lot of top producers, and I was one of them, and I knew who all the rest were, and we could see each other, and you could see where physically their offices were. You could see the average price that some of those agents were doing. And you saw that the top luxury gang right in one town was all drifted over to one village for the most part. And so I just wish I could go back in time and rewind that clock and get up above it and say, oh, there's some clues here. But instead, I just couldn't wait to get to work because I needed to make that money, right? So I went back several years ago, now quite a bit of time ago, and I redefined it. I said, look, let's just define marketplace. I mean, I know, I get it. You're all going to tell me, but I have to make a check like you did, so I'm just going to go anywhere. I agree. Go there. If you can serve somebody because you have the privilege of a real estate license, go serve them wherever they might be. Help them. I think that's a good thing. But I'm talking to you as a business person. I'm suggesting to you that you do what I do and not make the mistake by really narrowing your marketplace down. I know people will say narrow your niche, okay, but narrow your geography. In real estate, it's easier to understand. Just narrow that geography down to a town. And then you say, well, how do I know if it's big enough or small enough within which to market? Well, the litmus test that we use at the Realty Classroom Mastermind for those coaching clients is to say, look, why don't you go looking for somewhere around 800 to 1,000 sales? 2x that. That's the number of sides. So get about 1,600 to 2,000 sides, plus or minus. It feels right. It feels like if I were going to go in there and I wanted to do, say, 10, 20, 30, whatever the number of deals, that will predicate how big of a marketplace you need. Is it reasonable to control 0.5% of a marketplace at that if I'm a good marketer? You know, that kind of simple math. Don't overthink this, by the way. Just start by drawing an area and making sure there's enough transactions. You can't do robust marketing into an area where there's very few sales, 100 a year, unless it's really small. There's not a lot of agents. So try to get something that's sizable. But definitely, for most of you, stop trying to do an area that's way too big. It's just way too big. Okay, you're trying to pick a fight with Goliath and you don't even have your slingshot and your rock ready. Okay, you're going to lose that fight to yourself through no plan. So narrow that market down, 800 to 1,000. That's about 2,000 sides at the higher end. Then say, inside that market, who? So I'm going to break market down to where and who. And so here's a quick suggestion. And you know how real estate is, right? We're very touchy about whether or not we're discriminating. Here's what I would just say. Look, it's math. Use the math. If you look at a geography, you really desire to do business within that spot. Look at the median, middle number of all those 800 to 1,000 sales. Skew a little bit to the left of it and a lot of bit to the right. And that's who. The people that own those houses, the people that buy those types of houses, that's the who. Okay. So where are they? Who are they? Market. Next, message. And this is where it gets slippery. I've seen a lot of weird, unique selling propositions develop over time where everybody thinks they have to say, hey, if you jump through 7 hoops of fire and do a backflip, then this program will work for you. Come see me. And I don't know. That was always lost on me. To me, it's guidance. The message is guidance. And I know. What are you going to do? Go into these places and start yelling, I am the greatest guide of all time. You want to climb Mount Everest with me? I promise you won't slip over the edge of the cliff. I get it. It sounds weird. Because in messaging, in real estate, that consumer wants something first. And we know what they want. They want access to pictures and details of properties for sale and that's sold, period. I get it. So your messaging is going to have to include that kind of stuff. But if you can be the one that provides that information with some insight attached to it, that allows you to be unique against the Goliaths of the day. All these technology companies that have basically just become a big, platform to take the IDX and get it to the consumer better, faster, quicker. Everybody's catching up to that now too. There's nobody that really has a dominance over that. So what's unique in the messaging is your ability to add a little bit of insight. Hey, I'd like to give you these particular solds here because I think it means a little bit more to your house. Okay? So your messaging becomes a little bit more clear. I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole today because I want to move along here. Now and only now, all you tactic shoppers, all you website shoppers can look at media choice and say, do I put that, hey, free list of sold properties in your neighborhood delivered to you on a postcard, on a social media post, on a telemarketing call? See what I'm saying? You have to determine, you knew where they were, who they were. You know what you want to say. You want to give them something of what they want. What they need is your guidance. Okay. We've talked about how I've manifested and manufactured my guidance into magazines, books, infographics, and I get it to them along with the properties, digitally, in print. There's a lot of media choices, but that's how you make it. So plan in order, market, message, media. And then lastly, convert in order. So market in order, convert in order. What do you mean? Lead to prospect to client. Lead to prospect to client. See, if you make the mistake above and you just go out and you keep buying these media platforms and you abdicate the who and where they are to a third party, you abdicate the message, and now they're doing whatever it takes to almost clickbait people in, guess what you have too many of? Garbage leads. And they're not even leads. These aren't really leads of people who are serious about buying or selling, for that matter, in the next 12 months. A lot of them are whimsical internet inquiries. He said it again. Be careful of running right to media choices and buying whimsical internet inquiries. That's all they are. Somebody thinking into a little white box, and that's what they thought, and you captured them, and now you're going to spend all this time calling this massive pile to find a prospect. What's a prospect? A prospect is somebody who's really thinking about buying or selling inside of the next 12 months and has a real reason to move. That becomes a much smaller group of people that you can lean in on and really help them, gaining property information that's getting more specific, giving more insight as they get closer, and beginning to give them real guidance. See, this is where guidance, they allow you to now tell them what they need. Got to give them a lot of what they want up there in that lead to early prospect, but then they begin to need your guidance. Prospect, you lean in. And then ultimately, the transition to client is much smoother and often competition-less because you have given so much service to a much smaller group of people who are really serious about moving that they will reward you with a client relationship. All right, let's go back and cover these points. Your 2 triangles and 6 words away from a better business, and I just proved it, okay? You have to start first with the perspective of a strategist. There's the visionary and the tactician that sandwich this person in the middle that you need to become. Start with the perspective of a strategist. Next, chunk up the 2 driving forces, marketing to buyers and sellers that you don't know, okay? Marketing to buyers and sellers that you don't know, and converting those relationships from lead to prospect to client. But you have to, third point, you have to market in order. In other words, set up your marketing plan in order. Start with market. Where are they? Who are they? What's the message of what they want plus what they need? And what medium choice is the best that delivers that message the smoothest and the most effectively? And then lastly, convert in order. Understand why you have a lead problem. If you've made a mistake in the marketing module, clean it up. Get rid of all these internet inquiries that are whimsical, that are just drowning you, and get serious about the build out of your top 20 prospects, 10 buyer, 10 seller that you're serving. 10 and 10. Imagine how quickly you'd be converting a lot more to client and how that would help you hit that vision. All right, let's chunk this up in a quick summary. To summarize the key point, if you begin your planning by stopping all this shopping for tactics, stop doing that. Stop shopping for tactics rather than following a simple formula for marketing and conversion. That's where you need to be, okay? There's a high probability if you don't do this that you're going to fall short of your vision again and end up repeating the same result. You know who talked about that? That guy by the name of Einstein. Stop doing this tactical thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result and replacing one tactic for the next. Get a strategic plan in place. And here I am giving you the jump start. All right. Remember, you can take that immediate action, get that jump start, as I just talked about, with our free, simple business plan that tells you what to do and gives you this infographic to work from. It's over at freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, please, so that you don't miss out on any of the insights each time we upload an episode. These come straight from our coaching program in my real brokerage. We also broadcast our live sales training calls on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 EDT. We let you listen to the tactics so you can see how it relates to the strategies. So remember, turn on those page and channel notifications for the Realty Classroom so that you won't miss the reminders. We also appreciate it if you would share our content with other entrepreneurially spirited agents just like you, people that are trying to get it done, because we know everybody needs help out there. Hey, thanks for listening. And remember, nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on your own business. See you in the next episode.